and a few proteins. So basically, it consists of a structure with RNA, a genetic material, and a few proteins. And basically, they don't have a package of proteins which work for their genetic replication. That's why they need a host. They need a host, which is a living cell. And in this case, most of the coronavirus, they used to live in animals and humans as a living host. And the reason why coronavirus can be infectious for humans, because humans has something that we call as a receptor, which allow this coronavirus to bind with our cells. And once the cell infected by coronavirus, the cell will do whatever the coronavirus commands in our body. That's why there will be a lot of changes and metabolically damage for the worst case. And this is one of the case when the immune system failed. But actually, what happened during the infection state, and also what can we do to prevent this this worst state? So it has been mentioned by Angela Rasmussen. She's a famous virologist at the moment. So she said in a magazine called as The Scientist, to study about the virus is important, but to study the host response, in this case, the human immune system, it's even actually more important to prevent the bad damage, and also in the worst case is the death. So let's see here about the immune system. I will not talk too much about the immune system, but as you can see, it spread throughout our body. The organs here, so they are located throughout the body, start from the tonsils, nearby our nose, and then our throat, and then our around the chest. There's an organ we called as thymus, and then the lymph node, and then the spleen, then around the guts that we call as Peyer's patches, and also the appendix, then in the bone marrow, and then the lymph nodes and connected by lymphatic vessels. So all of them will work together in order to destroy the invaders. Here, of course, they will against everything which enter the body, and they will immediately neutralize when they recognize, okay, this is not part of my body and this is not good for me. In this case, it's the cell. So they will work together simultaneously to reduce or to neutralize the invaders, which is, in this case, is the coronavirus. So let's see the short story about the what does immune systems do when the body has already been infected by coronavirus. So a few minutes after infection, body's immune system will produce or will start to give the response called as innate response. So basically, this is the general survival for our body to against the invaders. So any any kind of virus, bacteria, or maybe helminth, worm. This innate response, it's unspecific. So it's immediately produced, unspecific. So just a few minutes or hours after the infection. Then this, in order to make this innate response become comprehensive in our body, they will involve many troopers. They will involve many troopers. So the troopers are granulocytes. Maybe if you have heard the eosinophil, neutrophil, and basophil. So they are the granulocytes. And then the T cells, then macrophages. These macrophages called as the scavenger cell. So they will just eat the invaders, or they also called as phagocytes. Then the natural killer cell. So as you see from, as you know from the name, so it will make the invaders become weaker, then they will destroy the cells, including the virus. And then in order to make those troopers well communicated each other, these troopers supported by plasma proteins. These plasma proteins work as a messenger or destroyer. Messengers means they just produce some kind of chemical molecules to make every troopers understand each other, what they should do, or they will just directly neutralize the invaders. So they can do both. So after the innate immune, after certain time, so in this case, it takes days or even weeks. We will produce some kind of adaptive immune response. That's why in COVID-19 test, or using the kit test, we will see the production of antibodies after several days, because basically this is the result of the adaptive immune response. So after they produce the antibodies, then they will start to make a very specific immune to neutralize the virus, including coronavirus. Therefore, this adaptive immune is it takes more time, but it will be specific, efficiently, and it will be very useful for a long-term survival in the body. So they will produce several type of specific cells. The first cell, called as T cell, it will destroy the infected cell. So for sure, the T cell will not only kill the virus, but also the cell which was infected. So there will be the regeneration of the cell followed by. And the second is B cell. It produces antibodies. So it can be more than one type of antibody. So there are two steps of how B cells work in this case. So the first type of B cells, called as B cells plasma. So these B cells will neutralize the antibody via spike protein binding of the coronavirus. So maybe it's quite often you heard about the spike protein from coronavirus, right? From from the shape of the coronavirus. It has a lot of spikes, and these spikes contains a very specific S protein. And this is very important for the recognition of the B cells plasma. And then the second type of B cells, called as B cells memory, it will remember the antibodies that have been produced. And will be very useful for the preparation of new infection. Therefore, in the case of coronavirus infection, normally a person cannot infect by the same type of coronavirus. Normally, the next if a person has been infected by more than one type of coronavirus, it must be a, a different type of coronavirus. I mean, the spike protein will determine the type of coronavirus. And every type of coronavirus normally will infect once for every person. I hope I explained it clearly. Then how they work together. So the macrophages or the scavengers, and then work with T cell and also the natural killer. It will be nice and will be more effective if they work together to against the COVID-19 virus. So, but also since the immune system also produce a very strong response in our body, it's quite often that it will change our metabolism in a very strong manner. So, and sometimes it will be too strong and give unwanted effect. In this case, numerous immune cells, when they enter the lungs, they will, so we know that they will do their work to neutralize the invaders. They also produce a lot of cytokines to communicate each other, and these mechanisms affected the membrane cell thickness. And when the membrane and the cell membrane thicken the lungs, thicken in the lungs, then the gas exchange can be extremely restricted. Therefore, in this condition, the ventilator will be needed for the corona or COVID-19 patients. And also, it can be very bad, or it can give a very negative effect when it directly against a healthy cell. So this situation can be happen, and the excessive immune reaction will be produced, and at the end, the patient can get an autoimmune response. So autoimmune means this is a very unwanted immune response, because it starts to against the healthy cell, which should not being destroyed. But in this case, the healthy cell will be destroyed as well. Therefore, the immune response is very important to be controlled, and it has been reported by Spicer and Bachman in 2020. The immune response basically has some kind of pattern generally. So when there's no preparation for the healthy immune response, so this is the case without vaccination, and when the social distancing being applied in the community, the immune response will be will be increasing slightly, and then at the certain point, it will start to reach the peak of the immune response. Then with the vaccination, it will help this immune response become very high compared to without vaccination. So, but when the immune response is partially prepared, in this case by applying the vaccination, then it will increase significantly the immune response. So I think all of you already studied yesterday about the vaccination, right? And I'm sure you already familiar with this type of spike S protein. So basically, this type of protein will be very important to be recognized with by the B cells. So the B cells can produce a very specific antibody based on the structure of S5 proteins. So now we would like to see another side of the COVID-19 pandemic. So so what can we do to boost our immune system? So yeah, I think this is general knowledge about eat something healthy, or just take care your what you eat, or eat something in balance, and so on. And this is true in the case of COVID-19 prevention or COVID-19 management. The role of functional foods is very important. So we need to consume enough dairy products daily, and also the vegetables for sure, and fruits. So it should be in a balanced amount, and which is also very important, water. Water, this is simple, easy, cheap to get, and it tasteless, so it should be no problem to consume it, and it has a low risk. For example, if you drink so much, okay, you just feel inconvenient in your stomach, so it means you have to reduce the amount of your water, but it has a very low risk to consume a lot of water, for example, unlike the other type of foods. If you eat, for example, if you eat spinach, this is very good for you, but if you eat more than two buckets of spinach, it will be very toxic for your gut, especially for your liver. But water, there's no, it has a very low risk to drink a lot of water. So why water is important? Because we know that chemically it consists of hydrogen and oxygen. And I already mentioned that in the case of coronavirus symptoms, I mean, normally they feel them suffocating because of the respiratory problem, and it indicates the lack of oxygen in the lungs. So water basically play a very important role as an oxygen donor. And in a biochemical reaction, oxygen is also very important for our metabolism in general. And hydrogen. What is hydrogen is so chemically it is a proton donor. So it's a positive charge donor. Therefore, it will bind any negative charge in our body. That's why it will help our metabolism to work properly. So hydrogen and oxygen can be obtained by from water. So drink enough water. It will be very good for to boost our immune system. And now I would like to introduce also about the nutraceuticals. So here in Faculty of Biotechnology, we study a lot about nutraceuticals, or it's also called as functional food. We studied about the substances that is in a food or part of a food which provides medical or health benefits. And in the case of pandemic situation, it will be very useful to prevent and to treat several kind of disease. Maybe you have heard about the jamu in Indonesia. So this is also part of local wisdom, but now it's getting attention with a lot of studies to understand the benefits and also the therapy potential for coronavirus. So in general, in relation with coronavirus treatment, omega-3, beta-glucans, amino acids, probiotics, vitamins, and minerals are very good to boost our immune system, because most of them, they work or they it's a type of appetizer for the immune cells. And so the presence of this substance will be beneficial in our body. And also the plant-based compounds derived from herbal extract will be also very useful for a treatment of COVID-19. And especially in Indonesia, we have many types of jamu. It made from a type of roots which can be extracted, and we normally we just drink them as a healthy drink. And this type of roots, we call them as empon-empon. So maybe some of you already familiar with this type of jamu, or the type of healthy drink in Indonesia. So ginger, curcumin, and then temu. Yeah, I couldn't find an English version of temu.
Bukan temulawak.
Yeah, it's just called temulawak.
Not different with curcuma?
It's different because yeah, we used to study. We used to know the Latin names. The Latin names are different. That's why it is a different species. So, but I think you most of you already familiar with ginger, right? The ginger, curcuma, and then the yeah, temulawak, yeah. So Indonesian used to drink this type of healthy drink. And based on the scientific study, the nutraceuticals and also herbal extracts give potential beneficial effects to prevent and also the treatment of COVID-19. So scientifically, the combination of the nutraceuticals and herbal extract um, can improve the sleep quality. And then the mucociliary clearance. What is it, mucociliary clearance? So when the invaders has been neutralized by the immune cells, they will be covered with some kind of substance called mucus. And then the mucus uh, should be reduced, or yeah, should be reduced. And this type of nutraceuticals and herbal extract will efficiently do this work. And then they also improve the vessel permeability. I mean the blood vessel permeability. So the blood circulation will run smoothly in our body. This is very important because our immune cell and also immune proteins has to flow in a good manner. I mean, they have to go to certain organs to do their work. For example, in the case of coronavirus, to the lungs. So it will be good if the blood vessel permeability can be improved. Pak Adi, is it? Do I still have? I still have time.
Oh yeah, no problem, Bu. Please continue. No
Okay.
problem.
Yes, and then it also has been known that the herbal extract and nutraceutical also reduce the cough, so it will reduce the coronavirus symptoms. And then it's also work as an antiviral properties. It means it will neutralize the coronavirus. And then it's also work as an anti-inflammatory because during the immune response, either innate or adaptive response, our cell will become, there will be inflammation in our cells. This is normal. And when but if the inflammation is too high or too much, then we will feel a very strong pain. That's why by consuming this type of nutraceuticals and herbal extract, it will reduce the pain during the inflammation. And it will augment the phagocytosis, including the macrophages. So they will eat the invaders and reduce them and destroy them. And then it will normalize the pulmonary functioning. Yeah, this is in relation with their work to improve the the blood vessel permeability. So it will be in accordance. And then most of the herbal extracts and nutraceuticals also works in antioxidants. Yeah, this is a common knowledge because vegetables, fruits, most of them contains vitamin D, vitamin C, and most of them, they are cofactors. They are cofactors of the enzyme. So our metabolism will work properly with this type of antioxidant. And then they also will improve the gut functioning. Yeah, because um, so some of a barrier also some of barrier the coronavirus barrier also exists in the intestinal or intestinal. What is in English? I think intestine. Yeah, intestine. The intestine. So when the immune cell in the intestine are healthy, then the gut function will also work properly. And it also has been studied in one of the university in East Java that by consuming nutraceuticals and herbal extracts, it will also reduce the length uh, to stay in the hospital. So they need a shorter ventilation times and also a shorter stay in the hospital. And then because most of this function work together, of course, it will reduce the respiratory infection in general. Then when all of them work together, of course, the immunity will be improved because the adaptive response can produce properly as well. And especially in the case of diabetic patients, this type of nutraceuticals and herbal extract give a very potential effect for the treatment of COVID-19 in a diabetic patient. So basically, how they specifically work, those nutraceuticals and herbal extracts. The nutraceuticals, as I have already said, you can get the omega-3, of course, from the fish, meat, yeah, any kind of seafood. They have a lot of omega-3 and also eggs. And then for the beta glucans, vitamins, minerals, you can get them from any colorful fruits and vegetables. So broccoli, carrots, you can get it from them. And here I want to show Sambucus nigra. This is a type of herbal in Asia, Africa. Maybe some of you already familiar with this type of plants. So in Indonesia, we only have Sambucus javanica. So Sambucus nigra is in, most of them they are in Africa, but Sambucus javanica is in Indonesia. So we used to drink the extract. So we just boil them. We just boil them and then drink the water, the boiled water from this extract to overcome the fever. So yeah, most of local Indonesian, they used to drink this as a medicine. And also selenium. Selenium you can get from beans, also from the meat, beef, pork, you can get it from there. And also fish, they have a lot of selenium. And also lactobacillus. Lactobacillus is a bacteria. This is a type of lactic bacteria, and you can get them from yogurt easily. Yogurt, yeah, any kind of probiotics drink like kombucha or kefir. Yeah, you can just drink this type of healthy drink. Then they has been studied that this type of substance will prevent or inhibit the viral replication. when they fail to replicate their genetic materials, it means there will be no viral infection because they need a certain number of virion. It's called as virion. So the single virus called as virion, and they have to reach a certain amount of virions to invade the human body. And when the viral replication failed, it means there will be no virion. And when the number of the virus is small or only limited, then the macrophages, T cells, natural killer will easily destroy them. They will destroy them. And by the time they destroy them, the innate and also the adaptive immune will be produced. And this lead the immune modulation and immune stimulation. And at the same time, when they work together with vitamin D, vitamin C, and zinc from the foods, the functional foods in this case, or nutraceuticals, they will produce the pro-inflammatory cytokines, but this is in a very controlled amount. That's why they will just use it to for the communication of the troopers. So those cells will work properly and will not give a bad effect because of the over immune response, or in the worst case, we call them as autoimmune response. So this is the short story about the nutraceuticals and herbal extracts that we can we can consume during this pandemic situation, and it is very important. Although I'm sure most of you also read about the article to prevent the COVID-19 spread. Like, okay, just be happy and be motivated. And so, of course, this is also important. But biologically, we also need to consume a healthy food, and we know that this is it will be nice if we consume functional foods and drink some supplement such as herbal extract. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Desy, for your interesting and inspiring thought. From Budesi, we learned that in order to increase our body immune, we need to have dairy milk, dairy products, then veggie, then fruits, then functional food, then also supplements, as well as not to forget the water, the tasteless one, but it's important. By the way, Bu, you mentioned that there is an ingredient comes from Africa, right?
Yes.
We actually have not three, actually five, but there are now three students coming from Kenya, which is Africa.
Okay.
Their name is New Hero Jax, Aran Matinge, and Helen. Perhaps if you want to ask about that ingredients in Kenya, what kind of ingredient was it? What's the name?
Sambucus nigra. Sambucus nigra. So the students from Kenya, maybe if any one of you have an experience to consume this type of herbal extract, the Sambucus nigra, maybe you would like to share, because I never been to Africa, and I also I never been taste this type of herbal extract as well. But the research about this type of plants is quite a lot at the moment about this.
Perhaps Helen, Aran, or Kanyairo, do you know some bukus nigra ingredient? Before we continue to the question and answer, Aaron or Helen or Kanyaira, do you know some bukus nigra? Is that something popular or common to be drank in Kenya?
Are they here, Pak Adi?
Yesterday they were active, but
Okay.
I don't know now.
Yeah.
Okay, while we are waiting now, I open for a question and answer session related to the body immune as well as the bionutrition, the supplement. Please, as yesterday, you can type your questions on the chat section and Ibu Desy will answer it. There is a question from Krishni Bell. Good afternoon, Bo. My question is, what happens when a person with autoimmune disease gets vaccinated? Is the immune system still able to do its job in protecting the body?
Yeah. Thank you should I answer it directly?
Yes, directly, one by one, no
Yeah.
problem.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, this is a very good question actually about the autoimmune. This is a very long debate for the people who studies about the immunology. What can we do about this? Because it can be. Is there any proverbs for dua mata pisau, Pak Adi?
What
You
is
know, dua
what kind
mata
of
pisau, dua mata pisau.
two sides of knife or two sides of coin?
Okay, thank you. So basically, the vaccination for the one who has an autoimmune response is it's kind of two side of
Coin.
plate. Uh,
Coins or coins. Normally, the term is two sides of coin. Could be one or
okay.
otherwise.
Yes, two sides of coins because in one side they need this vaccination, but the other side, once the immune response produced, it can be very uncontrollable. Therefore, it has already mentioned maybe from the YouTube channel or in a television program, especially when there is a government program related to the vaccination, that the one who has autoimmune should not get any vaccination because they still need time to study about this. They need a specific research about this. And we all know that the needs of the vaccination is quite urgent at the moment. So they have to launch the vaccine, and they have to do the vaccination. But in the case of autoimmune, they need more time to study about this. So my answer will be yeah, it's still in a study process. We still try to get more data and yeah, more information about this. Yeah, so that's yeah, unfortunately that's the answer.
It's
I
still
hope
debatable.
quite satisfied with this answer.
Now, a question from Christian Rai. I read an article that receptors responsible for the entrance of coronavirus are the ACE2 and TMPRSS2 receptors. That said, there are also evidence that people who have decreased ACE2 and TMPRSS2 receptors are those who have asthmatic, asthmatic patients and those who have allergic rhinitis. Can we infer that people who have decreased ACE and TMPR receptors, such as those with asthma and allergic rhinitis, are less likely to be infected with COVID? I'm interested to know because my friend's family was exposed to COVID, and my friend has allergic rhinitis. All of his family was infected with COVID-19, but he was the only person who was not infected with the COVID.
Ah. Wow, this is a very deep scientific question. I really like to hear this question. But yeah, the problem with the immune response, this is very specific personally. This is very specific personally. And in this case, this is for the one who has the asthma case, yeah, the asthma disease. So they really have to make sure the compatibility of this receptor. Of course, it can be used, it can be applied, but they really have to make sure the compatibility between the cells in every person. So I have heard about this article, but yeah, it's also still debatable. But of course, this is a big potential to be applied as a vaccine candidate substance. Yeah, so it's not only as proteins, as I already mentioned, but it's also another binding receptor. And yeah, I know I understand your interest because you have someone who close to you or near or surrounding you need this. But normally they have to check in the clinical phase first. Yeah. So after the animal cell culture, then they have to confirm in a monkey at least. Then then we will know. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Bu. Next question from Hannah Paula. What can you say about the practice of steam inhalation, also called
Ah.
TUP here in TUOP here in Philippines? Do you think it is positively affects our body immune?
Yeah, the steam inhalation. So in general, the purpose of this steam inhalation to increase the mucolari cilia. If you still remember about, yeah, I will show you again. Yeah, the mucociliary clearance. So this is the target for the steam inhalation, and the main purpose is to reduce the allergen. So any kind of allergen will be covered by this type of mucus, and then they will get rid of this mucus from the body. And still unclear how it works to reduce the COVID-19 or for COVID-19 treatments. But for sure, it has been studied that the warm feeling during the steam inhalation gives the positive energy for the people who's doing it. That's why it's also being suggested from the doctor who for the to the patient who has a respiratory problem, especially in the case of allergic problem. So once again, yeah, of course, it is a potential way to do, but still unclear how it works in relation with the COVID-19. But yeah, it can reduce, it can help the mucociliary clearance.
Thank you, Bu. Another question from Cecil Apau. Is there any relation between vitamin D and COVID-19? And the second, is virus a cell?
Yeah, good question. The vitamin D actually helps the B cells maturation. You still remember, we need them for the adaptive response. And this adaptive response will be a long-term immunization, basically. Now, here, so these B cells should be uh, developed to be B cells plasma and B cells memory. And vitamin D will help this maturation. That's why so oh yeah, B cells is being produced in the bone marrow. We know that bone marrow is a part of our um, um, tulang.
Like
Uh,
food, food.
Bone, sorry, Pak Adi. Yeah, it's part of our bone. So bone marrow is a part of our bone, and this vitamin D normally deposits with calcium in the bone, and it will help the maturation of B cells. Then we will then these B cells will differentiate it as B cells plasma and B cells memory. Then the adaptive immune response will work efficiently in our body.
So this vitamin D is important. Yeah?
Yes, that's why we need to. So there's some suggestion to do the sunbathing, right? And this is true. This is true because we only have pro vitamin D. In order to convert this pro vitamin D to be vitamin D, we need the sunlight. And this, and when we already produce the vitamin D, then it will work together with the B cells and we will get the mature B cells.
How about is virus a cell, Bu?
Virus, good question, Pak Adi. Virus is not a cell. Why? Because it only contains the genetic materials and few proteins. A cell should be able to replicate by themselves. And virus cannot do this. That's why they need a host. They need a host because they lack of proteins for their own genetic material replication. That's why we call them as acellular. So they are not a cell.
Okay, next question from Rafi Gonzaga. Can steam inhalation kill the coronavirus?
Um, in general, coronavirus is not easily degraded by high temperature. I mean, when you apply the steam inhalation, um, the temperature will decrease slowly, right? Even though this is from the boiled water, but when we already inhale them in the body, the temperature will reduce. And it's not enough to kill the coronavirus. But what we can get, the benefits we can get from this inhalation is via the mucociliary response, as I told you before. So it's more like a cascade process after the steam inhalation, but it's not directly killed the coronavirus. Maybe if the coronavirus still only in the nose, yeah, it works. But if it's already in the lungs, they cannot be they cannot be killed only by
Inhalation.
inhalation.
Thank you, Bu Desi. Next
Yeah.
question from Rudolfo Opido from Far Eastern. You said that adaptive immunity is specific but slow in response, while innate immunity is fast to respond but unspecific. Which one is more effective in promoting immune responses, adaptive or innate?
Good question, but we need both of them. We need both of them. The adaptive immune will be only produced when the innate immune has already worked properly. Because, so this is the general, yeah, maybe I should include that. So here, so basically the innate immunity only can reach until this um, this response. But when you already get your adaptive immunity, in this case help by vaccination, you will get until this much response. That's why you need both of them. So you need the innate first to do their work, uh, to generally uh, recognize or try to neutralize the invaders, and then normally they are not work 100%. They are yeah, still not really efficient. But by the time when the body already know, okay, the innate response is there, so it means this is my turn to the for the adaptive immunes to respond. So we need both of them. But if you ask which one is more effective, of course, the adaptive immune response. But once again, the adaptive immune response cannot be produced without innate response.
Okay, so they are interrelated.
They are related.
One supports each other then.
Yeah. But the adaptive immune response is the more important. That's why vaccination is the ideal way. Yeah. And where is the role of the nutraceuticals and herbal extracts? First, they are here. So this is they work here first. So they are some kind of shield for our body to make this innate response in a very adequate amount. And then when the adequate amount, the adaptive immune response. And to make this adaptive immune response stay longer, the nutraceuticals and the herbal extracts also play a role in there. So they work the first time and to make it longer.
Thank you, Bu. Another question from Rodolfo. Cytokines, apart from being messengers, also promote inflammatory response. Can we say that inflammation initiated by cytokines contribute to poor airway clearance and weak mucociliary clearance? Thank you.
Uh, maybe I should. Sorry, Pak Adi. This time I still unclear for me the question.
Cytokines,
Yeah.
apart from being messengers,
Mm-hmm.
also promote inflammatory response.
Also from.
Also promote inflammatory response.
Okay, so cytokines is part of the inflammatory response, but it is yeah, the purpose to to make every troopers communicated each other. So yeah, you're right. This is from the inflammatory response. Yeah.
Can we say that inflammation initiated by cytokines contributes to poor airway clearance and weak mucociliary clearance?
Okay. So it works simultaneously, basically. So the cytokines affect the inflammation, but the inflammation itself, it is an effect from the troopers' work. So this is because of the troopers' works actually. That's why we need to control the troopers to minimize the inflammation, which is helped by the herbal extract, for example. Yeah, so it works simultaneously. Yeah.
Thank you. Another question from Krishni. Is that true that virgin coconut oil is a potential adjuvant therapy in COVID patient and is helpful in boosting immune?
Yeah, I have heard about that, especially from the one of the motivator in Indonesia.
Is it? Okay.
Yes, yes, about the coconut. But this is also so I couldn't really get the scientific article, but it's more like from the experience of the people who survive from the COVID-19. It's more like a science magazine, and yeah, they said it's true based from this scientific magazine. If we try to see the chemical properties in virgin coconut oil, so this is a very beneficial type of oil, right? It's easily dissolved in our body. It's easily permeates in our cells. So any kinds of uh, um, free radicals can be covered or can be cleared by this type of oil. Yeah, so it sounds like yeah a clearer. Yeah, it sounds like a clearer basically. So this is a very light, very low density oil. That's why it will easily permeate, and it can take everything
So
bad
like a flushing.
cells. Yes, yes, yeah.
You can flush.
Yeah, that's the words I have to. Yeah, it's like flushing our cells. Yeah, that's what I know so far about the virgin coconut oil.
There is no scientific evidence yet, ya, Bu.
I
Still opinion.
maybe for the journal, Pa Adi, I couldn't
Okay.
find, but I think for the scientific magazine, because it's quite different, right? Scientific magazine normally based on the experience, based on the interview, but yeah, the journal article is based on the research, and yeah, I couldn't find it from the. Um,
Okay. Next question
wow,
from
still a lot of question. Cool.
Querafin. I will stop it. I will read this one first. From Querafin, can people get infected COVID-19 from food packaging, Bu?
Food packaging. Um, so there's some studies about the persistence of the virus persistence in many materials. So it depends on the type of the food packaging materials. Plastics, they stay shorter in plastic, but maybe from for example, leaves they stay quite long
Oh,
because
banana
yes,
leaf, you mean?
this is something herbal as well, right? And they don't produce any kind of toxic, but basically plastic, it's a yeah, it's a polymer, so could be a bit uh, incompatible with this virus, so it will protect better. But if there's a materials which non-toxic materials, then it will stay longer. Yeah, so basically it depends on the type of packaging material. Yeah, and when it has been exposed with strong light intensity or high temperature, or in an open area, it's also reduce the persistence of the virus. So it's quite yeah, yeah, actually it's a good question. I I think I only read this article in science magazines as well, but not in any journal, on any journal article. But they said this. So when the food packaging exposed with the high temperature, exposed with the high light intensity and also in open area, then it will make the virus persistence shorter.
Okay. I will limit the questions to two more questions from Rafi and Asomis. Then I will also read the opinion from Aaron, who is from Kenya. First, I would like to say about Rafi Gonzaga question. How we can prepare our health for UK variant coronavirus? What makes
Um,
it different from the previous one?
yeah.
The
So
UK one.
yeah, so the UK strain. The spike, or S proteins, they are different, and it said that they are more easily infect uh, from one person to another person. Like the infection degree is higher compared to the existing one. Um, but there's also one studies that apparently the number of the deaf people and also the strong symptoms, it's quite similar with the existing ones. So it means it will be more contagious compared to the previous one, but the impact is quite similar. Yeah. Um, in Indonesia itself, just to let all you guys knows, the variety of S proteins is also quite large. I mean, there are many types which are not exist in another country. But maybe because the symptom effect duration is shorter, that's why it's not as famous as the UK strain. But just to let you know, it happens actually in every country, especially with the country with the high population. So to prevent this type of new strain, which might be will always happen, yeah, just to let you know, because that's the nature of the coronavirus. Since this is an RNA virus, so it will easily to modify their genetic material. So once again, I would like to say consumes a good nutraceuticals and drink supplements, because any kind of strains will behave the same. Yeah, of course, they will show a very specific characterization. For example, in the case of UK strain, is more contagious, but it will give a similar effect to the body. So yeah, nutraceuticals and being happy, and yeah, good sleep, then herbal extracts, it will help in general. Because until now, there's no specific research about um, how to prevent the specific strain. It's not yet studied.
Thank you, Bu. Last question from Osamis. Does drinking water from Cooper vessel can help to kill the virus?
Cooper, Cooper vessel.
Is it enough to kill the coronavirus from the object? How long does the virus disappear in the plastic?
Cooper ya Pak Adi ya, Cooper.
Cooper, ya, Cooper. Timber, ya, timah ya.
Tembaga.
Tembaga, ya.
Cooper. Actually, Cooper is this is heavy metals, right? It should not be exist in a drinking water, isn't it? Yeah. So better to drink a healthy water. No heavy metals should be there. So better to avoid this type of water. Yeah. So should be no heavy metals. If there's still heavy metals, then you have to use the filter, uh, to use the water filtration to make sure you will get the free heavy metals. Yeah, and from plastics, as long as the water is not in a high temperature, because plastic is a polymer and it will be bad if high temperature water placed in a polymer, yeah, then there will be some kind of reaction between the high temperature water and polymer, and this is also become unhealthy. So make sure if you use the plastic glass, just drink ambient temperature or room temperature water or cold water. So this should be no problem, but should not drink hot water in a plastic glass. Yeah. And once again, what is very important, should be free from heavy metal.
Okay, thank you. So now I will read the comment from Aaron and also Helen about the Sambucus nigra.
Ah,
Personally, Helen has not seen Sambucus nigra, but it grows
okay.
more in our neighboring country, Tanzania. I think it is naturalized in some parts of Kenya, but I don't think it's common. Is that correct, Helen?
Okay.
Also, Aaron would like to say some of the ingredients we use in Kenya to boost our body immune are the same: ginger, garlic, spinach, turmeric, citrus
Okay.
fruit.
Good to know about this. Yeah.
Almost the same with Indonesian, yeah, Bu? Right?
Um,
Ginger,
jahe.
yeah, jahe, then
Yeah.
citrus fruits, garlic, spinach, turmeric. They
Citrus.
consume that for increasing body immune in Africa.
Oh, okay. So it's the same. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And another opinion from Aaron, we also use both green and black tea, which are packed with flavonoids, a type of antioxidant to boost
Oh,
the immune system.
nice. Nice. This is really nutraceuticals. So you get both. Yeah.
Okay, and
This
then,
is
yeah, is Sambucus nigra the same with elderberry, Bu?
no.
No, different.
It's different. It's in Java. It's called sangitan. Maybe Pak Adi has been heard or not.
No,
Yeah, I only seen it when I studied in during my bachelor. We made an extract from this type of
in
plants.
Jakarta.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
It's different. Yeah.
okay, I think that's all for the question and answer session today.
Yeah.
Thank you all for your active participation
Thank
during
you
the
for the
question and answer.
questions. Yeah.
And Ibu Desi or Miss Desi admitted that so many good questions asked by
Yeah.
you.
This is
So
yeah.
I should give applause for you and to all of you and Bu
Thank
Desi.
you so much. Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Bu.
much for
I
yeah.
think before we conclude, do you want to take a photo together for
Yes, yes, I
one
would
or
love to. I will
two or three
stop the
minutes only?
share. I will
Okay,
stop the share and yeah.
please.
And please
Okay, Sandra.
send the pictures to
Yes,
me.
Bu. I will send some of the pictures. Please, Sandra. Okay.
Okay, I'll take
Yeah.
a picture of you. Started from the first screen. Maybe I will only take 2 or 3
Three.
pages out of 10. Okay, just be prepared. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Wait. Move to the second page. Thank you, guys. 1, 2, 3. Okay, good.
Thank you, Sandra.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
Desi, once again.
I hope this talk will be useful for all of you and stay healthy. Eat a lot of nutraceuticals and drink a lot of supplements. Yeah, any supplements.
Thank you, ma'am.
This
Thank
is
you, Bu.
Thank you,
beneficial.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Terima kasih.
Terima
Thank you
kasih,
so much.
selamat.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So,
Sama-sama.
Thank
kita
you.
closing
Thank
one
you.
more hour.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Bye.
Terima kasih.
Yeah. So I leave now, Pak.
Yes.
Thank